A man who reached his 100th birthday, was just about to reach his 100th birthday, was being interviewed by a reporter. He said, what are the most things in your life? What is the most thing in your life that you're proud of? The man says, I don't have an enemy in the world. Not one. The reporter said, what a beautiful thing not to have an enemy in the world. He said, yep, I outlived every last one of them. Is that our approach to dealing with enemies? Probably so. It's just to avoid, maybe, and ignore them, hoping that you will outlive and outlast them. Maybe you secretly hope and plan and pray for maybe a bad thing to happen to them. Or maybe you take a more active stance toward enemies and gossip in your office about them, spreading lies about them, hoping that God may punish them. This is how the world operates. Let's face it. Just go to Facebook. We go to war with people. We plan and plot their demise. We rejoice in their failures and mourn at their successes. We write letters, make phone calls, and emails, and muster up support among our friends, our groups. We try to get people to side with us and to join the team of those who are angry at others. The song, They Will Know We Are Christians by Our Love, most often people know we are Christians by our hate. I just heard this morning, I was reading the CNN about the rampant epidemic of child abuse in the Roman Catholic Church. It does not end. It is crazy. I have never seen anything like this in my whole life. And because of it, the church has lost its moral standing. Totally. Why would anybody want to go to church with a church like that? What a pathetic church. What an anemic church. Christians today, though, are mad at the world. Catholics as well. We're mad about movies. We don't like the media. We're mad about gays and lesbians. We're mad about the ACLU, condoms in school, crime on the streets, drugs in the neighborhoods. We're mad about education. The kids aren't getting the best education. But what are we doing about it? The world views Christianity as more angry political activists than a spiritual organization developed to heal and to help a hurting world. Too often, when the world is hurting, our response is to say, well, it serves them right. We warn them that that's going to happen. Certainly, the Bible talks about this. We are commanded, though, to love and have compassion on people, no matter what. In the Gospel that Deacon Michael read today, we see Jesus extolling loss. It's counterintuitive, isn't it? We want to gain. Yesterday I was at my mother and father's old house, and I was going through things in the garage like a crazy man, trying to save every little, I might be able to use this one day. This bolt here, I don't want to throw it away. We like to acquire. We like to hoard. Hoarding is a thing in our society. We like to keep things. And Jesus tells us just the opposite. But we don't listen. We won't probably listen to his words today. He's saying if somebody needs a coat, give them the darn coat. If somebody, don't worry about your coat. In fact, give them your dress. He says tunic, but that's what it was. Give them your dress as well. Give them your tunic as well. This is crazy talk when you think about it. I need my coat. What are you talking about? I am not giving my mink coat. I am not giving my dress. my good pair of pants to save her at the Goodwill. Like heck, that's mine. That's me, mine. And Jesus tells us just the opposite, but we listen. We might even have a Bible with the red words in it. Does anybody have a Bible? All the red words in it are the words of Jesus. We look at it and we go, oh, that's nice. And then we go and we're like the rest of the world the rest of the week. We try to hoard. In our life, at 60 years old, a light bulb went on. Took me till 60, so I hope you get it before I did. That we have a life of loss. We have a life of loss. We might lose a job. We might lose a client. We don't even know why the client doesn't want us anymore. We might lose a parishioner. We don't know why the parishioner doesn't come. Was it something we said? Was it something we didn't say? Usually not. We might lose a great job with a six-figure salary. We might lose our teeth and our hair. We might lose a parent. Life is full of loss, and like Deacon Michael said to me, you know what, from this point on, it's only more of the same. We're going to have more people die in our families because we're getting older, right? We're getting older, so the people who are around us, we had this gentleman at 100, he has no more enemies, they all dropped dead. He's it. He's the last man standing. But loss can be a good thing. Getting rid of things and cleaning out your closet can be a great, not a good thing, a needed thing. And Jesus tells us that today. Loss, no matter what it is, if the presence of God is in your life, you can get through that loss. Not through pills and alcohol and drugs. This is just a Band-Aid on a bigger problem, right? Sometimes we need different medications. Don't throw your pills away, please. Sometimes we do need medications in our lives, and that's fine. But sometimes I wonder if we just sit, and we talked about being in the presence of God, if we just sit and look at that loss, experience that loss. Whether, I don't care what it is. It might be a health thing. Like this last year, I probably have been the least healthy in my whole life, and I am so thankful for my illness. You say, well, that's a crazy thing. I am so thankful for that pain, waking up every day, because I'll tell you what, that made me change some things. Realizing that, hey buddy, you're 60, get your S together. You don't have a whole lot, left. Maybe if I live to 80, I have another 20 years like my father did. Wow, I would be I'd be peachy. But loss is going to be a part of our lives. And the attitude and being in the presence of God is how we're going to get through it. Don't push the loss away and pretend it's not there. It's there, kids. Don't push that loss away. A lot of times we do. We push it away with a martini. That's the easiest one. That takes about 5 minutes. I'm not saying you can't have some wine or you can't have a martini. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You get a little buzz. Hey, nothing wrong with that. But if we're doing it to push the loss away, to medicate that loss, and not come into contact with it, not to sit with it. If we sit with it, I'll tell you some good things will happen. Some great things will happen. And there's not a soul in this room, maybe these two jamotes in the front row, they're pretty young. There's not a person in this room who has not had loss, right? Every one of us. From a parent to our health, to a husband, to a wife, we've all had loss in our life, and we will continue. It's not going to end. It's better, though, to face that loss. And Jesus even tells us, guess what? The more you lose, the better. The more you give your stuff away, the better. Because that loss, what does it say in the last, read that last line. Because if you take that loss and you go with that loss, you're going to be given so much more. He said so much that if you look at a bushel basket, it's going to be overflowing. He said, push down and overflowing will be your blessing. I really believe that. That's one thing that I believe. The more we give, the more we receive. Don't think by hoarding that you're gonna gain anything. Loss, and if you can just remember this out of this homily, that's all I really ask. Loss is part of our life in so many, many ways. But be okay with it. Don't run from it. Jesus even says, if you lose it, it's great. It's a good thing. The world doesn't see it that way. So if you're losing on your stocks, or you didn't get a raise this year, or somebody's even talking about you, because loss can be a lot of things. You can lose your identity. Many of us, one of the things that I can say happened to me is when I went into a semi-retirement, I lost who I was. I was like, oh my God, I'm not the director anymore. Oh my God, that was a big thing when I go back to work and fill in. I wasn't, the kingpin anymore. And as we age, that loss is going to be more and more. It's how we handle that loss that really, really matters. Each one of us also has run into a person of age, and that could be any age, but really older people, and I've run into many in the nursing home that have a beautiful countenance about them. They've lost just about everything. And I'll tell you what, you'd never know it. They are so appreciative of every little thing. They have gratitude for just talking to them for a minute. And it goes very deep. This gratitude goes very, very deep. This isn't just a show, an act. This is through many, many losses, to the point they finally come to a place of peace. And only the peace that comes from Jesus Christ, that peace that comes from being in His presence at all times. If you don't have that presence, and you're too busy with everything else, you'll miss the boat. Amen?
Amen.